Let's take a look at how one of the UFC's toughest fighters and arguably one of the best back takers in the promotion, Alexandre Pantoja, trains to increase his speed and power, how he peaks for his fights in the UFC, the tools he uses, and how you can implement the same type of training in your own strength and conditioning. Credit must be given here to Pantoja's S&C coach, Everton Oliveira, who has been doing a fantastic job working with Pantoja and developing him into the monster that we see today. As a combat sports S&C coach myself, I love to see proper strength and conditioning, so let's take a closer look at what Pantoja is doing here and why it's so effective. Make sure you subscribe to the Combathlete YouTube channel so you can get notified when we drop all of our latest new videos. These clips showcase Pantoja working in a power phase for his strength and conditioning. This is usually the last 2 to 4 weeks before he fights. On the timeline of a typical fight camp, focusing on force production, or power, is the last full phase of focused work before tapering and weight cutting begins. One format that Coach Oliveira really likes to use with his fighters is pairing a maximum effort overcoming isometric with a high velocity pattern on the same vector of movement. This is known as contrast pairing and is a fantastic formula for power development. The heavy isometric contraction primes the nervous system through post-activation potentiation, which enhances muscle force production in the subsequent high velocity exercises that you see Pantoja performing. Medball throw variations, ballistic push-ups, etc. This method leverages the peak muscle activation from the static isometric hold to increase power in dynamic movements. Here's some examples of Pantoja performing contrast pairs. Overcoming isometric Zercher hold for around 10 seconds at 100% effort, going straight into underhand Medball scoop throws over his head to the wall, probably for around 6 to 8 reps. Overcoming isometric floor press, again for about 10 seconds at 100% effort, into ballistic push-ups to blocks, 6 to 8 reps, or at least until the power noticeably drops off. Seated row yielding isometric holds for around 10 seconds into high-speed banded rows, again for about 6 to 8 reps. Let's head into the slaughterhouse and take a look at a power session you can implement to train like Pantoja for your speed and power for MMA. The session structure looks like this. We're going to get a solid warm-up in first, then we've got isometric mid-thigh pulls with the barbell paired with paused squat jumps, then it's hang power cleans with tuck jump repeats, speed back squat off of pins paired with overhead medball slams, and our upper body contrast pair will be overcoming isometric floor press paired with clapping push-ups. Our finisher will be 10 rounds on the assault bike, where each round is a 5-second burst of power, followed by 30 seconds of rest. Alright, let's get stuck in. 2 to 3 minutes on the assault bike. Easy pace for minute 1, a bit faster for minute 2. Once your body temperature and heart rate has been raised, let's do some activations. Lock clams, 2 sets of 20 each side, basic side plank for 15 seconds a side, before switching to a regular elbow plank for 30 seconds. Throw in some banded pull-aparts for a set of 20 to 30 reps, and now we're ready to get into some mobilizations. Hit your knee rolls for 10 to 20 reps a side, and then fire hydrant hip circles. We're aiming for 5 to 10 circles in each direction on each hip. The infamous Froggies for 20 to 30 rocking reps backwards and forwards, into cat-cows for 10 reps, and with the cat-cows you're trying to get as much movement from your thoracic spine, your upper back, as possible. Followed by world's greatest stretch for 5 reps per side. With these guys you're trying to touch the floor with your elbow each repetition. And then lastly the classic banded dislocate for 10 to 20 reps. And now we're ready for some potentiation. Quick contact times with some vertical pogos for 20 to 30 contacts. 5 box jumps to a moderate height box for you, followed by some high-speed medball slams for 5 to 6 reps. And now that we're warm and prepared for the work, we're ready to start with our first pairing, the isometric mid-thigh pull and paused squat jumps. For the isometric mid-thigh pull, make sure that the J-cups are positioned so that when you pull the bar underneath them, like I'm doing here, the bar is at a mid-thigh height for you. 10 seconds is a long contraction, so I definitely recommend that you use chalk to increase your grip ability on the bar. You maintain a brace, breathing from your chest cavity so that you can handle the full 10 seconds. And then make sure that your feet are underneath your hips so that you can drive through the lower body and through the hips as much as possible for the full 10 seconds. For the pause squat jumps, you're going to put your hands on your hips so that you don't swing your arms. Try and headbutt the ceiling every single repetition, and then have a stance width that is for your normal jumping stance. You really want 100% effort every single repetition here, so really push the floor away and drive through the legs as much as possible. For our next pair, we'll start with the hang power clean, and I definitely recommend using a rack to position the bar at the right height. Once you've racked out, your feet will start underneath you in a normal jumping stance, a slight hinge at the hips to dip the bar just above the knees, and then accelerate the bar up towards the sternum as you catch in the power position. And remember, the power position is denoted by bending the knees, but not going to the full thighs parallel or 90-degree knee bend to catch the bar. We're catching the bar above 90 degrees. It's also worth mentioning here that the loads shown in this video are not necessarily accurate of the loads you're going to use for hang power cleans. For tuck jump repeats, the goal here is that the floor is lava, and that's a cue I use all the time with my athletes. Think T2 or Ts, nice and explosive, try and hit your knees into your own chest. Let's get set up for our third exercise on the menu, which is going to be our speed squat off of pins. So for this, you just need to make sure that you've set your rack up accordingly with the pins at a height that gives you about a quarter squat of depth. So we don't want to be too low down, because the goal here is to really accelerate the weight off of the pins as fast as possible. It doesn't have to be a huge range of motion. We're just looking for 100% intent and 100% effort to accelerate the bar as fast as possible. Again, the loads that I'm using in this video clip are not necessarily accurate as to what you'll be using. They're just for demonstration purposes. You want to be aiming for around 80% of your 1 rep max on the back squat and put that on the bar so that you can accelerate it with top speeds every single rep. We'll pair the squats with overhead medball slams. Make sure you're reaching up onto your toes between reps to hit that triple extension, and really try and slam the ball so hard it goes all the way through the floor. Our fourth pair of exercises is going to be a contrast pair, and we're going to set the rack up for an isometric floor press. Again, you need to set the J-cups up in the rack so that when you press the bar underneath into the J-cups, you're nearly at maximum lockout, not quite, with a slight bend in the elbows. And this is so we can deliver maximum force into the bar without stressing the elbow joints too much. Once you've measured up and you're happy with the position of the bar, get yourself into the traditional floor press position, shoulders packed, brace nice and tight, pressing the bar into the J-cups for as much effort as you can handle for 10 seconds. It's a long time, so again, make sure that you're breathing from your chest cavity so you can handle the full set, and give it everything you got, driving your feet into the floor as much as your hands and bar into the J-cups. For the clap push-ups, try and stay tight, get as much height as possible each rep, clapping the hands as you float above the floor. To cap off our Pantoja-inspired, power-focused session, we're going to use none other than Satan's tricycle, the classic assault bike, for some alactic repeats. 5 seconds on at about RPE 8 to 9, so pretty hard, and then 30 seconds rest, nice and easy. Make sure when you're doing this that you can sustain the power for the full 5 seconds. Don't back off until those 5 seconds are done. Your legs might get a little bit heavy towards the end of the 10 rounds, but that's okay. Soon you'll adapt to this over a couple of weeks, and you'll feel a lot more powerful and be able to sustain your power for multiple repeats. Thanks so much for watching. The full programming for this Pantoja Power Focus session is written out below in the description. Please like this video and subscribe to the Combathlete YouTube channel if you're interested in more content like this. And make sure you follow us at Combathlete Arena on Instagram. Feel free to ask us any questions in the comment section or via DMs through Instagram. And if you're interested in working with me directly online for your strength and conditioning, head to the link on my Instagram bio and fill in the coaching application form today.